Hi, everyone. We'll get started in about one more minute. Thank you so much for being here today. Hi, everyone. We're going to get started. Good afternoon to those of you who are on the East Coast, and good day to everyone wherever you are. Today, you'll hear from Columbia University Libraries, and the goal of this session is to highlight key library resources and tips that students should take advantage of early on in their undergraduate experience at Columbia. So we'll have students and librarians talk about the resources that they view as exciting or critical, about which incoming students will want to learn more. The session is organized in two parts. First, you'll hear from some of the library staff and also student members of the Columbia community. And then we will take questions from you all about the libraries or just any questions you may have with some informal discussion. Just a little information about Columbia University Libraries. It is a top-tier academic research library serving one of the world's most important centers of research and learning, and you'll soon join that center. The libraries build, sustain, and make discoverable collections that transcend traditional boundaries of format and domain, keeping pace with a dynamic and rapidly evolving information environment, and creating unique opportunities for users like yourself to encounter global thought. Even though there are a few challenges with being remote or hybrid, the libraries are still committed to maintaining a vibrant side of learning. And so today we are here to just provide a little insight on how you can access the libraries, navigate their resources with a few tips. Just so that you all know, this session is being recorded and that we will post this recording to the Countdown to Columbia site for you or any of your incoming classmates to access later. Right now, you'll hear from different members of the Columbia University's libraries. And these members are staff members and, again, students, and each of them are bringing you a unique perspective. They'll introduce themselves. They'll speak a little bit about where they're located within our libraries, what they do to support students like yourself, and then provide a tip. And again, after that, we'll open the floor to questions. Whoever would like to start may start.
I'll start. My name is, hi everyone, my name is Ramsey Ayer. I'm the co-chair of the Student Affairs Committee in the Columbia University Senate. I'm not officially a part of the library's infrastructure, but I have collaborated with libraries on a number of events and programming around finals through my work on Columbia College Student Council. And as a student, like all of you, I use libraries regularly for research and for learning in my classes. My pronouns are he, him, his. I should also mention that. My tip is to keep yourselves aware of all the wonderful events and workshops that the libraries host on Zoom. If you go to the library's website, there is a whole list and a whole schedule of different events using research tools and how to use Clio, for example, to find the information that you're looking for. It can definitely be intimidating when, I know it was for me when you start off your time at Columbia, not really knowing how to do research super productively, but just one of these 1-hour workshops will really help you gain those skills. And it's a great thing to know as you go through your Columbia journey.
Next, we'll hear from Will.
If I can manage to unmute myself, that'd be great. Hello, my name is Will Vante. My pronouns are he, his, and I'm the science and engineering librarian. And under normal circumstances, I would be working in the science and engineering library, also known by some people as NOCO, because it's in the northwest corner building, the northwest corner of the campus, the imaginatively named building. My job involves, among many things, involves buying and subscribing to resources to support research and learning at Columbia in the fields of engineering, chemistry, mathematics, and statistics, and providing research support in those areas. So anybody with questions about how to access those things or how to use them, that would be filtered to me if it's about those specific subjects. But in a more general sense, I'm also here to support just general questions and ways to use the libraries and its resources. We have access to thousands of online journal articles and ebooks, which have been really helpful during the lockdown in the scientific fields that I cover. It's been a lot of online things, is what I'm saying. And my tip would be if you're reading a book chapter or an article and you want to track down the references for that, you want to read more about it, generally the quickest way to get access to anything, instead of navigating to a specific journal and following the citation and all that, just take the title and paste it into Google Scholar. If a library or academic link exists to that PDF, it will often immediately appear in that search. Google Scholars, you may already be using it. It's a little less useful for general topic searches. We have lots of in-depth databases that are helpful for that. And again, we can talk about that. But if you're just looking for a specific pinpoint item, just paste the title in there and 9 times out of 10, you'll get it. But the other part of this trick is that you should access Google Scholar through our library catalog, because when you do that, you'll go through the appropriate, it's called like a web proxy, like the thing that basically figures out whether we're subscribed to something or not. And then it will provide you the appropriate links with our access to things. I get a lot of questions from students and from faculty, a lot of questions from faculty asking, can you get me this article? And when I get that question, it makes me think, okay, this is going to be a hard to track down thing. And you'd be surprised how often I just paste it into Google Scholar and there it is, and they just didn't look. And that's fine. I'm happy to help, but you know a lot of things are at your fingertips. So that's my tip. And a welcome.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Carolyn.
Hey folks, my name is Carolyn. I use they and she pronouns. I'm a public services librarian within the library system. So I assist students and faculty with accessing materials in the libraries, very similar to what Will does. I'm located at the Burke Library, which is a theology and religion library. You might have seen it at some point. It's that big Hogwarts castle looking building in like the northwest corner of campus. I'm also an alum, and I particularly help affiliate students at places like Barnard, Teachers College, and Union. I lead classes and workshops. I do like one-on-one reference and research help, and especially when it comes to the humanities, and especially when it comes to archives and special collections. So one tip that I have for any incoming student is to use the Ask a Librarian chat feature. Has anybody seen this? It's really awesome. On any given Columbia University Library's webpage, there will be a little Ask a Librarian button on that, and it takes you to a little chat box where you can chat with a librarian like I am, like DM with a librarian, and you'll get any one of us. Like I'm on Thursday afternoons, but you might get Will or someone else, and you can just chat us anything. It doesn't have to be like a big, high concept research question. It doesn't have to be very technical. And it's not like, you know, remedial and you won't like get in trouble for using it. You know, we don't like talk to your instructors or your professors or anything. It's just a free chat box where you can talk to a librarian. And I really recommend everyone check it out at least once, like when you're starting a paper or something. It's a nice way to get in touch with us. So that's my tip. Welcome.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Shanda.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shonda Peterson. My pronouns are she, hers. I can be found in multiple locations, so bear with me. I can be found mostly in the Science and Engineering Library located in the Northwest Corner building. You can also find me in Lehman Library in the SEPA building. I might be in the Mathematics Library in the Mathematics building. I can also be found in social work that's over on Amsterdam Avenue. I can be found in journalism in the, what building is that? I've lost it. I can, I'm sorry, I just lost the building. But I can be found in journalism as well. Business library, which I'm currently in right now, which is URIS. So yeah, that's a lot of libraries. So what I am primarily responsible for, I'm sorry, I don't think I gave you my title. I am the Evening and Weekend Access Reserve Supervisor. And basically I oversee any evening operations, which include, but are not limited to, reserves, staffing in libraries, overseeing libraries, and making sure the libraries are running smoothly. My pro tip for you is to get to know your libraries, to know which ones are best suited for your studying needs, what you need to work, to get your work done. If you are one that likes quiet time, maybe you are better suited to go to social work or even math. Business can get a little rowdy and loud. Social work is a quiet library. Science, we have a quiet floor and a talking floor, so you can talk on both. You can speak, depending on what level you need. You can go to the quiet floor or the. So basically, you want to go to a library that's going to best suit your needs, because you can't always when you get to the library, it might be busy or it might be a little louder than what you wanted. So if you know what you need and how you like to study, your best bet is to go to one of the libraries that would have what you have.
Thank you. And I do apologize for mispronouncing your name. My Southern accent pronunciation. So last but not least, we'll hear from Insaf.
Hey everybody, my name is Insaf Ali. I've been working at Columbia since 2006. I am currently the Butler Reserves and Media Supervisor. I'm also alumni. I'm located in Butler Library, right now in Butler 311 across our main circulation desk. Just really quickly, since I work in reserves, we put required readings on short-term loan for all students to, assure equitable access. Right now that amounts to, because of COVID, that amounts to pretty much sourcing a lot of material through Clio, our online catalog. That's ebooks, films, journalistic articles, newspaper articles, etc. I can quickly kind of demo how to get to reserves. That's my tip. Let me just stop my video for a second. I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see that? Hopefully. So to get to library reserves, all you have to do is basically go to using the libraries. And actually, I'm seeing all of your faces, so I need to move this down. So you click on using the libraries, right? And then over here is course reserves. And you just click on it. You scroll down. You click on students. And you can click on the reserve list. And then you'll have to authenticate with your union password. So I'm going to quickly just do that. Just bear with me. See if I know my password. That would be amazing. And you'll have a full access to all of the lists reserve lists that you are signed up for as far as courses and stuff. So I'm just going to click on a sample list. Let's see, Professor Spiegel. I worked on her material just the other day, so let's see what she has. Click on this course here, and voila, all of her readings are here. In this case, it's a lot of movies. So if we click on one of these movies, let's say Killer of Sheep. Let's see if it plays. Get a nice copyright message here. And ideally, it should play. And there you go. You have your movie. Right now, it's just showing the sample, but it should play. Alexander Street's a little weird. But why don't we try a really popular movie just really quickly? Do the Right Thing. That's, oh, wait, I need to fix that. Let's not do that one. Tangerine, maybe? Yeah, there we go. And look at that, we have a full movie right at your fingertips. So that's the library access point. Let me just show you in Courseworks, where normally you guys would be in. When you log into Courseworks, you authenticate with your uni, but right once you get to your class, when you scroll down, right at the bottom there, there's a tab that's labeled Library Reserves. When you click on it, it'll show the reserve list for the particular class. So that's just the easier way to get to library reserves. And that's my quick tip. Let me stop sharing and mute myself.
Thank you. And we've just placed in a chat a resource that INSOF put together that gives you the steps for accessing your materials. While you all are maybe thinking of your questions and maybe trying to formulate your thoughts and think about the tips we just gave you, I just want to say that we're here to support you in any way possible. You can access us by coming to the website and maybe looking for our emails, and I'll show that in just a moment. You can also use that Ask a Librarian feature that Carolyn mentioned. But more than anything, we want you to know that during this time, we do have ways for you to access materials in a safe way. You may be able to request items and pick them up in a safe way. You will be able to, at a point, if you are in town, come and to study in space at a certain date. But more than anything, we want you to know that the safest way, the best way to get in contact with us is through email or online. I do not see any questions right now in the chat. Oh, we do have one question, if I'm not mistaken. No problem. Ariella. Okay, so we have one question. Ariella is assisting us. It says, which newspapers, journals, and websites can students access as students? Would anyone like to take that question? Which newspapers, journals, and websites can students access as students?
Take that. Essentially, many, like a lot. Wouldn't you guys say like all of them is probably the most correct answer?
A lot.
Because, well, and you know, the question wasn't which things do you have, but which newspapers and journals do we have access to? And the answer is you have access to all of them. If there's something that we don't have within Columbia or that you're not seeing in the catalog, definitely use that Ask a Librarian feature to get in touch with a librarian who can help you find ways to access it. And one of the first things that a librarian will recommend to you is something called interlibrary loan. Has anybody used interlibrary loan? Ramsey, have you used interlibrary loan before?
I have. I use it all the time. It's a great resource to just get, if there's a book that the library, or newspaper in this case, that the libraries at Columbia don't have access to. I don't know what the exact number is, but I know there's a huge network of other college and university libraries that we have a kind of cross-reference system with, so we can get their materials and they can get ours if they need to. And I'm sure you would know more about exactly how that works, but it is a great resource that hopefully you'll all use a lot as students.
For sure. And just one last tip that I would say is don't let the word loan in interlibrary loan scare you off, because usually when it comes to journals and articles, you'll get a nice PDF file. that you have forever. So it's not all about physical loans. Don't necessarily worry about that yet, but most journals, most US newspapers and many, many international newspapers, suites of thousands and thousands and thousands of academic journals, we definitely do have access to. And if we don't carry it within the library here, we can put you in touch with Interlibrary Loan or another service to get it delivered here. I hope that answers your question.
And just to add, I know some people like to, see things in action. So my screen here is showing Clio, which is the library's online catalog. There is a way for you to go to databases or look for e-journal titles. So I'm just clicking on this left-hand menu. And you're able to, with some of the databases or e-journal titles, search for them and see the list. You'll see that we have access to more than 1,500 databases. So when we say a lot, we really do mean a lot. And you can take your time to move through the resources to find what you need or to search them in the search box. Let's say there's something that you can't find or you don't have. That interlibrary loan is one of the services that we do offer. So I would encourage you, like when you have time, go to library.columbia.edu, and I'll put that link in the chat, or anyone can place it there. And to click on services and tools for students, you'll be able to see some of those services that we mentioned, whether it's the online catalog Clio, or if you need to go to Interlibrary Loan and to find out more about that, to request news articles or any journal titles that you don't see when you're searching in Clio by itself. Okay. We do have a second question. When will the form to request library study hours open? So when will the form to request library study hours open? Would anyone like to take that, or I don't mind? Okay, Carolyn?
Starting on next Monday, August 31st, there will be 6 libraries open for reservation using a seat reservation system called LibCal. But you'll be able to reserve a particular table, a particular spot in a particular library for a particular block of time. There are public health rules in place that you'll need to abide by, including using the app and the symptom self-attestation. That's all I know about seat reservation at this point. Anybody else?
Yes, we're in the process right now of setting up the seat reservation. So come next week, we'll have a lot more stuff on the website. But as of right now, it'll be for 2 hours, but you can block it for different libraries. So in essence, you can basically go to all 6 libraries and have 2 hours in each library. You would check in with a QR code, and then when you're done, you can check out with a QR code.
Thank you. We have another question. So where are undergraduates generally allowed to study on campus? Are there specific libraries where undergraduates can study?
I can give you 3 libraries. It would be the Business Library in Watson, but that is going to be basically Monday through Thursday for business students only. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can have all students enter. We also have the Lehman Library that's located down on the 300 level of the SEPA building. And the Science and Engineering Library, which is in the Northwest Corner building. I believe Avery Library will also be open. And will Butler be open in South?
Of course, we're Butler.
Yeah, just to add to that, oh, I'm sorry, was someone speaking? Okay, just to add, yes, Butler is open, Avery, Lehman Library, Star East Asian Library, the Business Library, and and the Science and Engineering Library. And as Shonda said, the times and the hours will vary. And again, you can use that link, the Library Alerts link, to learn more about that. But then you can always, again, contact us directly and we'll be able to put you in contact with the person you need to speak to about reservations. We do have another question. Thank you all so much for your questions. They're really great. What citation softwares do students have access to, and which would you recommend? What citation softwares do students have access to, and which do you recommend?
I can take a stab at this one. The one that, I mean, someone else might be able to speak to what exactly are the ones that offered, but I know certainly the one that I would recommend is a free service called Zotero, which is more than just a citation machine. It's a very powerful tool for all sorts of organizing different sources, especially in the humanities and social sciences, which is what I have experience doing with it, but I'm sure it works for other fields as well. Essentially, it's an app that you can get on your computer, and this goes in line with what I was saying about the workshops that the libraries offer. They offer Zotero workshops regularly to get you up to speed on how to use this tool. And it's just a great thing that I think everyone should get to know as soon as possible once they get to Columbia. It'll be because of this, I've never spent more than, even for a very, very long paper, I've never spent more than 5 to 10 minutes actually making and formatting a bibliography. It's a very easy to use, powerful citation creator, and I'm sure that the other, I'm sure that the librarians will have more to add to what I just said, but I definitely recommend Zotero.
Good answer, Ramsey.
Thank you.
So we have a link in the chat just to more information about reference and citation management services. As Ramsey mentioned, definitely take advantage of workshops to get demos, to practice. Again, we're here to support you in like wherever you are in your research and learning process. We do have a question related to textbooks. So do you have suggestions for loaning or renting or getting access to textbooks? And that's really important. If you're a student in NYC, can you still borrow hard copy books?
That is a very deep question. The best thing to do is, your instructor usually will, if they use course reserves, they'll definitely submit a reserve list to us, and we comb through it, and our staff do, and we try to find e-content and buy textbooks and things like that when we can source them. If we cannot source them, there are options. The other panelists certainly know more than me, but I sometimes will have to recommend things like Red Shelf and Vital Source. Obviously, there's always Amazon, but I'll let the others chime in.
That's right. And in cases when we can't procure the electronic copy, we have physical copies that you can request scans of specific chapters. I'm going to get a little political and just point out the fact that we try to get electronic books as much as possible, but many publishers are restricting their electronic textbooks such that they're not, because when we buy electronic textbooks, they have to be through platforms that support academic things. We can't buy individual ebooks to then hand out to people. And a lot of textbook publishers are restricting that so that you have to buy the individual copy, and we can't buy that. And I just want you to know that we know that this is happening, and we're very frustrated about it, just as you are. So, let's burn it down or something.
Also, the libraries has a paging service where if the book is located in a particular library, you can request it, and it'll come to you already checked out on your account, and you can have it for the semester if a copy is available. So you might want to check the library's website and see and plug in the book that you're looking for and see if you can get it, and then you can just page request.
I'm going to combine or kind of go back to a question about space reservation. we have a question. If a person, let's say, is in their 2-hour block and no one is, I guess, has secured the 2-hour block after them, are they allowed to stay additional time or stay over that 2-hour block that they've requested?
Unfortunately, no. It's 2 hours max per library, but you can go to different libraries and do it. So however you figure it out, if you want to do it systematically and do all the libraries on the west side of campus and then move over to the libraries on the east side of campus, whatever works for you, but it is a 2-hour block. So you might want to stretch your time out accordingly.
We now are taking a turn with our questions. What sorts of jobs are available in the libraries at this time? Maybe what sorts of jobs maybe are generally available?
What's generally available are things called student workers, or GAs as we call them, and they would be responsible primarily for the behind the scenes work, which is shelving, manning the circulation desk, possibly answering phones or very general reference questions. And when I say very general, it's like, where's the librarian I can get to? Unfortunately, with the COVID, I know especially in Central, we will not have any GAs this semester. We're hoping to look to have some in future, possibly in the spring, but as of right now, we will not have any GAs.
Thank you. So we've heard a little bit about working in the libraries, or maybe not during this time. What about sleeping in the libraries? Is that a thing? Have any of you witnessed that? Or Ramsey, have you done that before during your time?
I'll plead the fifth on to whether I have myself, but I mean, no, I have not personally, but I have, you know, I'll combine this, I guess, with the 24-hour spaces question. In normal times, Butler Library is open 24/7, at least the majority of the reading rooms are. Yeah, I mean, if you're, you know, facing up against a deadline, I mean, obviously it's important to develop healthy study habits. And I think that the libraries actually has a lot of great resources about this as well, and other offices at Columbia do as well. But that 24/7, depending on when you like to work and when you feel you're most productive, maybe, you know, a late night in the library isn't the worst thing in the world, and it definitely is a great resource that Columbia offers for its students to be able to you know, access the libraries, whether virtually or in person, pretty much at all hours. So it's a great way to, you know, not sure if this is directly answering the question about sleeping in the libraries. I think there's probably a policy against that, but there are resources available 24/7. So whenever works for your schedule, you can utilize those.
I mean, we don't provide pillows or anything. It's not.
You can bring your own.
We don't condone it on that level, but we also don't go around, you know, kicking people's chairs if we see them sleeping. We're there to provide a space for you to study, and how you use that space is sort of up to you. And if you happen to fall asleep while studying, we're not judging.
I literally had a student come in with a pillow, a blanket, and a toothbrush, and I figured they were going to camp out for the next week. Science and engineering does have 24 hours, especially during finals and finals time. So basically, you can technically come in when we open at 9 a.m. and stay until 9 a.m. the next morning. I wouldn't recommend it, but it has been done, and students seem it works for them.
I will say the Burke Library has many comfy chairs and couches. It's a terrific sleeping environment, as well as a silent space for silent studying or sleeping. I would also say, though, that throughout the libraries, you know, when we get back to normal times, when you can do things like be in there overnight and there's sleeping space, you know, whenever that normal time is, space is always, you know, limited. So you might not make friends with your fellow students by taking up a library seat for your nap. I mean, you know, a quick nap, whatever, but like just FYI, if someone is looking for a seat and the library is full and you're napping, you know, that person might feel slightly inconvenienced. So just something to keep in mind.
All great advice. But in all seriousness, please get your rest. You may be very excited. You may have a lot of work during your first year, but I'm a member of the NAP ministry, and I invite you all to join. Definitely get your rest, okay? So we have a question about our international students. How can international students access ebooks, especially if they're required?
Every electronic resource you want to access, be an ebook or a journal article, if you go through the library website first, if it's something that needs authentication, which a lot of things will be, it will ask you for your uni and password, and that should work no matter where you're accessing it from. In general, occasionally something glitches here and there, but you can just get in touch with us and we'll find out if something's going on. But the general answer to that would be just whatever you're looking for, don't go straight to the website of whatever it is. Find it in the catalog first, click through that link, and then log in with your uni. And that should be fine.
Related to books, can hard copy books be shipped to students who are off campus?
What I understand, we don't have that service as of yet, but we do, as Shonda mentioned, we do have the book pickup service where you can request books and come during our pickup hours and certainly retrieve books.
I believe it's something that's being considered, but the logistics of working that out, obviously, in the background are not insignificant. So I wouldn't want to make any promises about when and if that will be implemented, but it's definitely like whatever you can think of as a possible solution to bypass all these barriers that we have right now with the situation. We have people thinking about them and trying to figure out whether or not they can be implemented safely. There's people working very hard at this, but as to that specific point, I guess stay tuned.
Yeah, and I would encourage students who are outside of New York to get in touch with their local library, even a local college or university library. Any email address that's like help at or library at, you know, library.edu or whatever, even your local public library. You know, schools all over the place are dealing with this right now. And there might be like temporary access cards you can get. There might even be interlibrary delivery services where you can obtain print copies of books you need at your local library. So definitely reach out to whatever your local situation is.
And I'd just like to mention that we do have a lending library called the Fly Partnership Library for first generation low income students. There will be an email soon out about that where we are trying to provide books, if that's shipping or for students to come on campus, for students in that category or who want to self-identify. So as a lot of my colleagues here have said, we're still trying to work it out. So definitely watch your emails and be on alert for updates. We have a final question about citation management. I'm glad you all are thinking about this before your assignments come, but which is better, Zotero or RefWorks?
I would say Zotero has more Columbia library support. So if you're using Zotero and you get stuck, you have issues, or you want to attend a workshop, just like a run through of the basics, Zotero for sure. RefWorks, there's like fewer support mechanisms in place, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I personally have never even touched RefWorks, but one way to answer that would be that the best citation management software is the one that you use. If you're already experienced in RefWorks and it's working for you, I wouldn't necessarily say, no, you have to switch to Zotero. And especially, I believe RefWorks has a free tier. So if you're not paying, and Zotero is also free. So if it's not costing you in the wallet and you're already super, for whatever reason, a big fan of RefWorks and use it a lot, it's probably fine. But if you're starting from scratch, from zero, you might as well start with something that if you do run into any issues, you're gonna be able to get help for, I would think. So another Zotero vote.
And I'll add that a lot of these citation management softwares allow you to transfer, you know, some of your sources or materials you've collected. So let's say you are interested in RefWorks and later you find out that Zotero is easier for you to use or you just like it better. There are ways for you to transfer that over. So don't feel stuck with one software management system. Y'all have a lot of great questions today. I'm very excited. We have another one. Is there anything that you wish or recommend first-year students would do during the first semester as CU students when it comes to taking advantage of the amazing resources available through the libraries?
Ask questions. Just don't be afraid of asking questions, of approaching us. I used to say when we were working on campus regularly, that if you're walking by my office and you have a question and you see me in there and it looks like I'm working hard, like, you know, don't worry about it. Just knock on the door and come in. Obviously, that's not a thing we're going to be doing, but I think most of my colleagues will agree with me. Like, the kind of work that we're doing where we're not helping students, it can be boring, and would rather help you. You have interesting questions, you have interesting things that you're researching and studying, and that stuff is cool. That's the cool part of librarianship. Doing boring administrative work in the back end, like I personally don't care. I will do it because it's my job, but I'd rather help you. So if you have questions about anything, come find us.
I'm going to agree with Will on that one. I mean, I know where I work at the circ desk. I mean, our doors are always open. It's open door policy. We like when people stop by and say hi. My coworker, who's now my boss, she has lollipops in the office, and she hopes people just kind of walk in and take a lollipop. One key thing I would recommend for first year students is take advantage of our research guides. There's quite a few research guides available. If I was a young undergrad, now looking back, that's the first thing I would take advantage of.
I just added the link to the Ask a Librarian chat box again, because I'm just such a big fan. It's my #1 recommendation. Chat us up.
I'd also add that take advantage of individual librarians. And what I mean by that is we all know a lot about libraries in general, but we're also subject specialists, or many people are subject specialists. So they may study something that you're already interested in, or maybe you're interested in for a semester because you're studying it. So there are ways that you can make contact with subject specialists through Ask a Librarian. But there's also a way that you can just contact them directly, and I'll put that link in the chat in a moment. Any other tips?
Yeah, I'll just add one. I mean, this is maybe a more general tip than a specific service the library offers, but I think that it's important to remember that, you know, when using the resources that the libraries do offer, don't just limit yourself to what you're learning in your classes at that time, and don't just limit yourself to, you know, if you have a specific research project or a paper. It could basically be anything that you'd want to learn, even just casually on the side, any interest that you have. There's something in the collections at the libraries that can get you the information that you're looking for. If there's a novel you're interested in reading, or if there is even I know that some libraries carry DVDs, and if there's a DVD you want to watch, you know, obviously there's a huge infrastructure to support research, and it's wonderful. But there's also just so much more that you can learn, even if you don't have prior knowledge in a specific subject. So that's something that I would encourage all new students to think about.
I would also like to add a general tip, especially when it comes to studying. Don't get so involved in studying that you forget to do anything else. Make sure you take a break. Take 15 minutes, get a snack, get something to drink, walk around. Don't tie yourself to a desk so long and your back is hurting and you're tired and you forget, or you get annoyed or stressed. You always want to take your break and make sure you eat something, even if it's some nuts or a piece of candy. Just have something next to you that you can snack on, because those little things always help.
Thank you all. There's some questions about who to communicate with. There is a general email account that's in the chat, so leo@columbia.edu. Also, you can use the subject specialist page or ask a librarian for us to reroute your questions to the most specific person who can answer that question. We thank you all so much for your time today. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're still here. We're still making sure you get what you need during this remote time. And when things are safe again, and when things are the way they need to be, definitely drop by and say hello. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, folks.